Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here. Back again with another video. So, you see the title, you see the thumbnail. Let's get into it. Should the Chargers consider signing Odell Beckham Jr.? And the short answer and the long answer is yes. Resounding yes. Now, before everybody starts going crazy or whatever, and disagreeing in the comments, let's just think, right? What do the Chargers need right now at this point, especially offensively, right? What has everybody been talking about? All of us Charger fans, we've all been talking about a speed receiver. The Chargers need a speed receiver. They need somebody who can stretch the field, can stretch the defense out, catch a lot of balls over the top, right? And be able to utilize Justin Herbert's arm the way that, the Chargers should be using it. So before you say no, before you rule it out, does he feel a need? And the answer is yes, unequivocally yes, right? And he does feel a need. And let me explain, right? He is not going to feel this need immediately, but we've seen what Odell Beckham did last season with the Rams. You've seen his playoff run, and he got to the Rams. I can't remember which week it was, but and I normally I'll try to go through stats and all that stuff, but I don't even think that the stats are that important. They don't really matter at that point. When he came into the season, he provided a need for the Rams. They were bringing him in, and they considered signing him. They said he can play a small role in the team. Robert Woods goes down with the ACL injury in practice, so now Odell Beckham steps in. And if you look at his tenure with the Rams last season, he got better every single game, and during the playoffs, he came up big. He came up big with big catches, and it all culminated in the Super Bowl, where I believe he would have won MVP if he didn't get hurt, because he was balling, and the Cincinnati DBs were having a hard time covering him. He was really starting to get into his zone, and then he went down with the ACL injury. But I want, if you're a Charger fan, ask yourself, does this guy feel a need? And yes, he does. Number one, I think he is a guy, he's coming off of his second ACL tear. Ian Rappaport was on the Pat McAfee podcast or his YouTube show last month during free agency. He revealed that when Odell Beckham tore his ACL the first time, the surgery it didn't go as well as everybody had hoped that it would, and I guess he still had some possibly scar tissue or something going on in his knee that was still a concern. And he reported that the doctors, the LA Rams team doctor, did the surgery on Odell Beckham, and he fixed whatever issue that got ignored the last time. So it's reported that he's going to come back healthy, and he should be himself. He should be doing his regular stuff when he does come back from the knee injury. Now, the reason why I say this is a perfect deal and would be a perfect signing for the Chargers is Odell Beckham knows that he's coming off of his second knee surgery. This is going to be a prove-it deal, right? No matter where he ends up signing or whatever, it's not going to be a long-term deal. He's not going to get offered long-term money just because, his injury history is a concern. Now, it was even a concern before he tore his ACL for the second time. But his injury history is a concern, and now he knows that he has to prove it. He's a free agent, and this deal that he signs, wherever, is going to be a prove-it deal. And it's not going to be worth a lot of money, right? It'll probably be in the $4 to $5 million range, right? Something that the Chargers can afford right now, especially after the cuts, the training camp cuts, and all of that stuff. Definitely something the Chargers can afford. Number two, the reason why I say this really works for the Chargers is because the Chargers are good at wide receiver. They're good at wide receiver. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Josh Palmer, Jalen Guyton, they're good at wide receiver. They do not need Odell Beckham to come in and fill a role immediately from day one, in training camp and all that stuff. Because obviously Odell's probably going to start the year on the PUP list, right? So he won't even be eligible to return probably until week 6 at the earliest. So they don't need Odell Beckham to come in and fill a hole. They don't need him to come in and have 85 catches for 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. They don't need him to do that. Odell Beckham can fill a specific role that the Chargers need him to fill, which is a guy to go down the field, right? Clear some space out so Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett and Donald Parham, the tight ends, can work under the middle. And, they can have a lot of open space because he's going to be taking, a safety and a cornerback with him going downfield. You would hope every time that, his number gets called, for him to run downfield, he's going to take people with him because he is electric downfield. He can make spectacular catches. He's good after the run. After the catch, he does all of that stuff. So teams are going to pay attention to him if he's running down the field. You're going to want to, send somebody over there to cover him. So it's going to open up other guys to have opportunities to work, underneath. So for me personally, he fills a role that the Chargers need filled right now. And considering, I was considering making this video kind of, closer to when free agency started within the first couple of weeks, especially because, you weren't hearing anything really about Odell and, whatever, there was some optimism that he was going to resign. The Rams went out and signed Allen Robinson. So I think his opportunities, even if he does resign with the Rams, his opportunities are not going to be there. The opportunities for him to put up a lot of catches, put up a lot of numbers and stuff. I just don't think that it's going to be there. But Odell does fill a need. He filled the need for the Rams last year, and he can definitely fill the need for the Chargers when he does come back. And his playoff performances give you even more of an incentive to say, hey, this guy has come up big in the playoffs before. He has, he just did it last year, so we can bring him in, and he can do something similar for us, especially if you're the Chargers. So I think that is definitely a positive. And then you also have to take into account Odell and his girlfriend or fiance, whatever her title is. They just welcomed a brand new baby into the world. I believe it was a son. I think it was a week or two after the Super Bowl or whenever that was. So his family is in LA. His primary residence is in LA. His girlfriend, fiance, she wants to be in LA, and he wants to be around his kid. I think family is a big thing for him. So I don't think that he's looking to just pack up and go anywhere, right? So I think that he wants to stay in LA. And if the opportunities are not there with the Rams, the opportunities could be there with the Chargers. He could really fill a role that the Chargers need him to fill, right? And then, he can run all the routes. He can do all that stuff. And then, him being a downfield threat with Justin Herbert's arm, that's, to me, that's money. But, a lot of people feel a certain way about him. He's had some bad press and stuff, and he has done some things, some immature behavior type stuff, whatever. But to me, that a lot of that's in the past. You haven't really seen him do that in several years now. So to me, he seems like he's grown up and he's matured. He understands that the position that he's in right now, he's not in a big money position, and that's just the nature of the game. That's just the nature of the NFL, right? Especially when you're injured, you don't have the big money opportunities, right? He's gonna have to come in. If the Chargers do sign him, he's gonna have to come in. He's gonna have to be relatively quiet, right? Just be a good teammate, be a good soldier. Go out there, do what's asked of him, and also stay healthy. That will be the way that he can get another contract that pays him. That will pay him more than what he's going to make whenever he decides to sign this season. So that's also something to keep in mind, and I think the Chargers is a perfect opportunity, and it's a perfect place for him because he can rehab fully. He can completely rehab his knee. He doesn't have to come back in early or whatever. The Chargers, like I said, they're good at wide receiver. And they're good on offense. They were a top 5 offense last season and returning, most of those weapons, and, actually got better on the offensive side too after, free agency and the draft. So he doesn't have to come in and play a big role. He can, rehab fully and whenever he's up to speed, he can just go out there, do what's asked of him, you know, put up some good numbers, you know, be able to stretch the defense out and be able to make the Chargers offense electric, you know, not just good and not just, you know, not good in certain areas, you know, as far as the, you know, the 10 and 12 play drives. He's the type of guy that can make, you know, the Chargers go out there and have 1 and 2 play drives, because that's how electric he is. That's how, you know, amazing he is down the field. You know, once he has the ball in his hands, he can do all of that for you. So I think he would definitely be an asset to the Chargers. Now, you know, it's the ball is in the Chargers' court. I think he's available, and I think if, you know, Tom Telesco or Brandon Staley or whoever it was reached out to him and his people, I believe that they would definitely listen, because he wants to stay in town. He does not want to leave, right? He doesn't want to leave LA. So it gives him an opportunity to play out the NFL season, stay in town, stay around his family, stay around his son, and, you know, kind of be in his comfort place, you know, right? His happy place. And, you know, if you have him at his happy, you know, in his happy place where he's comfortable and all that stuff, then he's going to produce. He's going to do it at a high level, because we've seen him do it before. But that's pretty much just my thoughts on Odell possibly joining the Chargers. To me, it just makes complete and perfect sense. The Chargers don't have to break the bank either. But, you know, it is what it is, right? But let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think. There's a speed receiver needs to be filled, right? The Chargers got to find one somewhere. He's out there on the market. He's been out there on the market as well too. So let you know his market is not as big as you would think it is. So hit the comments though. Let me know what you think of that idea. You agree, you disagree, whatever. Just hit the comments. Let me know. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing if you like the content. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up on this video as well too. But that's all I got for today, guys. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you later.